And welcome back to the first AAU Overtime podcast of the 2023-2024 upcoming season. It's good to be back. It's been a long time since I brought some AAU Overtime pod for our listeners, viewers, fans, family, friends, all throughout the AAU. And we're kicking it off bringing in the AAU College Hockey Director of Hockey Operations, John LaRochester. Not the first time, definitely not the last time you're going to be coming onto the pod. Welcome back.
Hey, Jordan, thanks for having me. It's exciting. We're in the midst of that calm before the mad rush to start the season, but a lot of hard work, a lot of effort, a lot of creativity has gone in, and this is going to be a good one. This is going to be a really exciting season for a great number of reasons. So excited to spend some time with you.
So, fifth season doing this college hockey stuff. First full year as AAU under the banner. We had the half season last year when Scott made the announcement. I believe it was in December around that time. Yep. And now first full year under the AAU banner. How is management, executives, how's the staff here within AAU college hockey? How are they feeling going into this year?
Confident. It's a shocking thing to think that it's been 5 years. A lot of hockey's been played, a lot of learning has happened, a lot of growth, a lot of expansion, a million conversations. But last fall when Scott arrived, we took and built on the critical mass that we had, and things started to take shape, and the journey and the path that we were on as an organization started to really define itself. It showed itself pretty well. And when the decision was made, to roll out the AAU model and framework, the national tournament really was the kickoff. And it was the greatest tournament, ever at the collegiate level, that's not in the NCAA. And from the second that ended, we have been in a mode where we are shifting the brand and really focusing on standardization, uniformity of process. When you're 5 years old and you're building from the ground up, all of your content is brand new. All of your procedures are brand new, and they constantly have to be evolved. And that's the beauty of what we do. Is that we are able to change things and evolve on the fly and adjust to the needs of membership and some of the conditions of the world and what we experience. So, Scott put together a comprehensive plan, really defined our leadership team, defined roles, some restructuring, of roles. So, this year you'll see divisional commissioners at the D1, D2, D3, and women's level. There's a great deal of focus being put on making sure that this operation is built upon really good values and morals. And I think the origin of CHF, when we started this, there was a vision, and now that vision is starting to become more refined and more professional, and we're dotting a lot more I's and crossing more T's. So it's been a lot of work, but it's exciting work because, we know what the end result is. We know what it's for. And our members, our student athletes, our member programs are all going to benefit from the work now. So.
Something you mentioned there, you mentioned a little tease of D1, D2, D3, the women's division, nationals, something you also brought up. I guess my next question can then segue into nationals, because AAU National Championship is now going to have a little bit new twist to it because of the introduction to D1, D2, D3, and now a women's division. That's something that marinated over this past offseason.
Yeah, and that's kind of what jumped up at us, or really pretty quickly was, when we always knew that we needed to evolve. One of the things that makes us stand out at this level of hockey is that our vision is different. We have a very innovative mindset and approach to the way that we do things. We don't have a fixed dogma. We constantly read the tea leaves and listen and are aware of the new changes and the nuances. And as we, we saw that there was growth, and we saw that there was a need to create additional opportunities, but, allow for parity, competitive integrity. And, the conversation at some point was always to, hey, we want to do D1. This is a pilot year. It's not flip the switch, hey, we're D1 because we say it. You have to build into that program. And this is a 3 to 5 year push. There are 16 organizations this year that, have established a standard, a base set of standards, competitive standards, standards off the ice, and are going to lay the foundation for what will be, a higher level of competition or concentration of competition. With that being said, it also opened the door for teams that were currently at D2 or teams that were very successful with our pilot program at D3 last year to move up. A lot of our non-tournament bound teams have declared to be tournament bound at the Division III level. And then the growth of the women's division coming out of the Upper New York Conference and College Hockey South, is just another avenue to do that. So when the idea was, hey, we're going to have 4 divisions next year, everyone's like, wow, that's great. And then you start saying, okay, well, that's 4 national championships. We have 1 more year on our contract with Iceline in Westchester, and they have been nothing but spectacular partners. You've been fortunate enough to be there, in your capacity to see the tournament, and anybody who's been there, the evolution of that tournament over the last 5 years has been incredible. Obviously, COVID, threw a little bit of a monkey wrench in year 1. We were off for year 2, but from year 3 to year 4, the tournament grew exponentially in what we were able to provide, for a player and fan and supporter experience. And the competition is unbelievable. So, we explored some ideas. We went out to RFP. We discussed and went down the road of trying to see if, there was a potential or an opportunity for us to, move the D1 venue out as a plan. But the business side of things, it didn't work at this point. And again, you got to remember this decision, kind of happened in February, and, it leaves 2 or 3 months to plan, a first impression that, you have to do right. So this year we are going to return to Iceline. And, in order to make it work, we had to stagger the tournaments. So what you're going to see this year is 4 divisions crown 4 national champions. 16 teams from Division I will qualify for the national tournament. The philosophy being that those 16 teams would have qualified in the top 32 anyway. And in a pilot year, teams will be competing for rankings for seeding purposes. So 16 teams at D1 will begin the tournament on Wednesday and will culminate with the D1 National Championship on Sunday. Then you'll have the staggering of women's, and D3 will start Thursday and D2 will start. So, the maximum capacity of games last year we had on Friday, Saturday were 20 games a day in the 4-sheet facility. We will actually have 1 day of 20 games because we will catch each of the tournaments at a different capacity. But it's going to be pretty exciting to have the D1 National Championship final in the middle of a building when everybody is there. You're going to have, 40 plus teams playing north of 80 games, over the course of a week in a building crowning 4 national championship champions. So it's a lot of work on the horizon, but the foundation, the roadmap is there. It's set. And now we're just trying to get the season underway and get our I's dotted and our T's crossed so we can light the candle on the season.
Yeah, that tournament, it's like you mentioned, the last year it was D2, D3. The championships would happen it was middle of the week. A lot of teams go home because they're eliminated. So getting a packed house on that Sunday night for it was D1 and women's, right? Is going to be
D1 and women's will finish.
Yep, on Sunday.
On Sunday, and then you will have the the D2 and D3 tournaments finishing up on the Wednesday.
And that goes all hand in hand with trying to impact the player experience. And that's something that talking to Scott or talking to Mark Perowitz, the chairman, and talking to you as well, something that's always heavily emphasized is player experience and giving them, not everyone's going to play NCAA hockey. So we want to give them an outlet, give them give them a good opportunity to play, and also give them a great time as well.
Yeah, and I think that's, I said it before, I think our greatest asset is our creativity and awareness of putting that experience first. Like that really is it. I've been fortunate enough as a program administrator and a conference administrator to, have been to probably 16 of the last 18 tournaments. I've hosted tournaments prior to being in the CHF. I've been to all different regions and seen all different, scenarios and tournament formats. And you kind of take a little bit of the best of everything. But at the end of the day, there's nothing like watching a first-time athlete walk in the building and know that every ounce of effort that goes into that week or that tournament or that day is focused on making them feel like they're the only thing that exists in that day. And that's really what it is. We are very focused on that. It's always, hey, what can we do? What can we get better at? Whether it's the media, our media was really strong last year. It's going to a whole nother level this year. Our partnerships with strategic partnerships with vendors and other companies, their presence will be expanded and enhanced. And that's just, it all makes the tournament what it is. And it's not only the athletes, it's the families. It's not often that, parents get to travel on the road to watch their kids play. And when you can walk into a building and the magnitude of some of the games and the impact of some of the games, and you get to share that with your family and your friends, that's an important thing to us. So the feedback that we get, whether it be positive or constructive criticism, we take that and we try to kick it up another notch and kick it up another notch after that. So, that's the exciting stuff. So we get a couple of surprises for everybody this year. It's going to be bigger and better than it was last year. So we're excited about that. We're excited that, we're going to see at the Division II level a 20-team tournament that will reintroduce some wild cards exiting pool play as we approach the quarterfinal rounds. So that makes scoreboard watching a little bit easier.
By wild cards at the national tournament, what do you mean by the wild cards?
So with 20 teams, you'll have 5 pools of 4, but you have to turn out 8 teams for the quarters.
So some teams that don't win their pool, they still have a chance. They're still alive.
We will have some wild cards, which we'll get. If you remember, the first year before COVID, we had a couple of teams that couldn't show up. We had them. We had to adjust on the fly. So the wild card came in, and when it's like that scene in The Hangover where the guy starts seeing all the math equations. You're watching entire teams and families sitting in the lobby, and they're calculating goal differential, and they're running to watch games. And it brings you back to Pee Wee days when you're trying to qualify for the next day. But
yep.
Again, it's just another little avenue to make that week a memorable experience for everybody. We'll have Division III, another 8-team tournament, and this year we'll have 4 women's programs represent in the inaugural national championship tournament for them as well.
And for D1, is it going to be 4 pools of 4 and all the winners move on of those pools? Yes. Or is there any wild cards in D1?
No, 16. It's an even number. So, yep.
Gotcha. Perfect. Yeah, you mentioned before some of the sponsors you guys taken on and work with. One of them is with ESC Hockey, the prospect camp that happened over the summer. I know Steve Oleski has a big helping hand that we talked to at Nationals with that prospect series.
Yeah, again, one of the things is that it's, the executive director, Scott Solomon, uses, he has his quote that is, comes out of, some business books that talk about leadership and business growth. And, it's rising tides raise all ships. And, one of the things that we really pride ourselves on is surrounding ourselves with people, companies, and organizations that want to grow and understand that as they grow, we grow. Game Sheet. We were the first North American hockey organization to use Game Sheet. Game Sheet is now the leader in, hockey scoring software in North America. As they grow and they add new elements to their product, we are the beneficiaries of that. Our partnership with Verbero. We have a couple partnerships in the works. A partnership with Howie's Hockey, Black Dog, with AAU. I mean, that's the biggest of the relationships. So it's exciting because everybody is evolving, and we learn from one another. So when we had the opportunity to cross paths with Steve Alexi, who has such a genuine and real story that speaks to people, that emphasizes hard work and commitment and a path to the NHL and a Stanley Cup that might not be the traditional pathway. At the end of the day, these are student athletes. And, as an educator, you're always looking to surround yourself with people that can enhance the environment so that people can learn and grow from it. And one of the things that is at the forefront of our mission is to continue to educate not only our current student athletes and member programs and support network, but future student athletes that will play for AAU. And the best way to do that, to get that message out, to educate people on who we are, why we are, what we do, what opportunities we have. We have some of the finest institutions in America in this association. And, kids go to college to learn. And the hockey at this level, like at the NCAA, the D3 level, is to enhance that academic experience. And that is really what we believe in. So Steve and his Eastside Elite business and what developed from that Soul Sports was a natural partnership, an avenue for us to connect into the youth hockey world, to provide the foundation for youth players, that 93%, that 96% that are not going to be NCAA D1 athletes, to allow them to know that there is a very large path for them, that there's still a great deal of opportunity just to play intercollegiate hockey. And Steve is the right guy to do that. He's one of us. He gets it. He understands it. It's a passion project for him. So we were fortunate to build a relationship, and build on that. I've known Steve for longer than, my time at AAU, and so is Scott Solomon. But, again, it's something that this organization needs. So, we put some plans in place to try to create some opportunities and showcase series. But this year coming up is going to be a great deal more focus on those things. You'll see multiple events, in different regions of the country. So,
yeah. Talked about potentially some things, some wheels you got in motion, but to wrap it up here, anything else, potential expansion, bringing other programs you have down the line, any other things you have in the works, not specifically with bringing in other programs or expanding territory potentially?
Yeah. So, there's a lot of things. So this year we will see in the middle of April, following the national tournament, AAU will be hosting its first annual All-Star Challenge, which will be in Florida. And you will see the all-star teams from each of our conferences compete down in Florida. That event will also be our national meeting. And one of the things we were talking about is the potential of having, one of those showcase events at the same time, and really making that a second event. In terms of our growth, there are a couple of relationships that we've expanded. There's some new technologies that we are going to see, roll out. Our membership has grown this year. We picked up about 10 or 15 programs from before. We are in constant, communication with people, and give people an opportunity. We are in the process of developing, a developmental program to assist brand new programs and programs that might be, in a situation where they're wanting to compete and they need to, work the kinks out and establish a program. And because at the end of the day, it's about creating opportunities for people and knowing that people are at different, competitive levels and their programs are in different stages and have different resource levels. So, we just try to enhance those opportunities that we have and listen to new ideas and develop new ones. So, a lot of good ideas. We continue to have dialogue with the NHL about growing the game. We just saw one of our board members host a spectacular international tournament in Florida that featured, a great number of our current and former players. So there's a lot of stuff going on. It's exciting, and it's not just on the ice; it's off the ice stuff too. But I'm not going to divulge too many surprises at this point. Yeah. This year's it's going to be better than last year, is what I can tell you.
Well, great stuff. The season is underway. Got games already going on down at the College Hockey South. That is to lead in, I guess, for tomorrow's show. Tomorrow at 1 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Head coach and GM of University of Georgia Bulldogs Ice Hockey, John Camp, will be joining the podcast. So, like I mentioned, their season's underway, and pretty shortly, all the other conferences are going to be getting their licks in, getting their game ones underway. We got the South coming up north this year. We got the North coming up south. I know I'm going to be calling some games for Farmingdale against Georgia. Georgia's got Quinnipiac as well. So, thank you, John LaRochester, the AAU College Hockey Director of Hockey Operations. First show of the year. Definitely won't be the last time I'm seeing you on the pod, John. Thanks for talking,
No
and
problem.
I appreciate you hopping on.
Thanks, Jordan. Have a good one.
Thank you. Good night, everyone. Tune in tomorrow, 1 p.m. John Camp, University of Georgia. We'll see you guys tomorrow.